Here is something that almost nobody talks about. The worst moment for your knees is not when you climb stairs. It is not when you squat down. It is not even when you stand for too long. The worst moment for your knees is the first 60 seconds after you wake up. And if you have ever swung your legs over the side of the bed in the morning and felt that deep, grinding stiffness, that sensation like your knee joints are packed with wet concrete, then stay with me, because what I am about to explain will completely change how you think about your knee pain. Most people assume that stiffness is caused by damage. They think their cartilage is gone, their joints are bone on bone, and that the pain they feel every morning is just the body counting the years. That is not what is happening. In the majority of cases, what you are experiencing in those first painful minutes of the morning is not structural damage. It is a biological shutdown. Your knees have gone into a kind of hibernation overnight, and nobody ever taught you how to properly wake them back up. So today, I am going to show you exactly how to do that. I have 5 specific movements, 2 of which you do before you even stand up, still lying flat in bed, and each one targets a different reason your knees feel terrible in the morning. And at the very end, I will share one 60-second habit that supercharges everything else. It works by addressing the one thing the exercises alone cannot fix. Let us talk about what is actually happening inside your knee while you sleep. Your knee joint is wrapped in something called a synovial capsule. Think of it like a sealed plastic bag that surrounds the entire joint. Inside that bag is synovial fluid, a thick gel-like liquid that is essentially your body's natural joint oil. It cushions the cartilage, feeds the joint with nutrients, and allows the bones to glide smoothly against each other. Here is the problem. When you lie still for 7 or 8 hours, that fluid does not circulate. It pools, it thickens, and by the time your alarm goes off, the inside of your knee joint looks less like machine oil and more like cold molasses. The cartilage surfaces that were meant to glide are now sticky and sluggish. The joint capsule itself has tightened, and the muscles around the knee, especially one critical one that most people have never heard of, have essentially powered down for the night. When you then stand up and immediately start walking on that cold, stiff, under-lubricated joint, you are doing the equivalent of starting a car engine in winter and immediately flooring the accelerator. Something is going to grind. The 5 movements I am about to teach you change that. They warm the fluid, they wake the muscles, and they prepare the joint for weight-bearing in the correct sequence. By the time your feet hit the ground, your knees will already be halfway ready for the day. Let us count down. Starting with number 5. Movement 5. The heel slide. You are still in bed. Pillow under your head, lying flat on your back. Do not sit up yet. This first movement is deliberately the gentlest thing I could design, because at this stage of the morning, your knee is at its most vulnerable. Straighten both legs. Now take your right heel and very slowly drag it up along the mattress toward your body. You are bending the knee as your heel slides toward your hip. Move slowly. Go only as far as it feels comfortable, not to the point of pain, just to the point of gentle resistance. Then slowly drag the heel back down until the leg is straight again. That is 1 repetition. 10 on the right, then 10 on the left. Now here is why this works better than it looks. The mattress is doing something very specific. It is supporting the entire weight of your leg, which means the knee joint itself carries almost 0 load during this movement. You are moving the joint without compressing it. And that motion, that pumping action, is what begins to circulate the synovial fluid. You are essentially stirring the cold molasses back into something workable. People often ask, how far should my heel go? Should I try to touch my buttock? The answer is no. Forget depth. The goal is smooth, controlled motion. Half range of motion with good control beats full range of motion with pain every single time. And notice something, as you do your 10th repetition, your knee will feel slightly different than it did on your first repetition. That is the fluid beginning to warm up. That is the joint waking. Movement 4. The quad switch on. Still in bed, legs straight. This movement has no visible motion at all, which makes it look easy. It is not easy. Or rather, it is easy to do incorrectly. The quadriceps, the large muscle group running across the front of your thigh, is the primary guardian of your knee joint. Every step you take, every stair you climb, every time you lower yourself into a chair, the quad is what controls the movement and protects the knee. But after a night of sleep, it is essentially offline. The nerve signals that normally keep it partially active during waking hours have quieted. The muscle is soft, unresponsive, and completely unprepared to protect anything. If you stand up on an inactive quad, the knee joint itself absorbs impacts it was never designed to absorb alone. That is a major contributor to that deep achy pain people feel in their first steps of the morning. Here is how to switch it back on. Lying flat, legs straight, press the back of your right knee firmly down into the mattress. As you do this, you will feel the muscle on the front of your thigh harden. It will go from soft to firm under your hand. Hold that firmness for 5 full seconds. Count to 5, then release completely. Let it go fully soft again. 10 repetitions right leg. 10 repetitions left leg. The reason I want you to release completely between each hold is that the contrast, tension then full release, trains your nervous system to find the muscle more efficiently. You are building the neurological pathway, not just the muscle itself. This is why even people who have had knee replacements can do this exercise safely and benefit from it. The knee joint does not move at all. The muscle works, the joint rests. Movement 3, seated knee lift and lower. Now it is time to sit up. Swing your legs over the edge of the bed. Sit tall, not hunched, not leaning back. Feet flat on the floor. Take one breath here. Notice how your knees feel right now compared to when you first woke up. Sit toward the front edge of the mattress, or move to a firm chair if that is easier. Now lift your right foot off the floor by straightening your right knee. Extend the leg out in front of you until it is as straight as it can comfortably go. Hold for 3 seconds at the top, then lower it back down to the floor, slowly. Fighting gravity on the way down is the key. 10 on each side. Here is the detail that separates a good repetition from a great one. At the top of the movement, the moment your leg is fully extended, I want you to add 1 extra squeeze. Pull the kneecap slightly upward by tightening the quad as hard as you can for just 1 second before you lower. This targets a specific section of the quad called the VMO. We are going to come back to that muscle in movement 1 because it deserves an entire explanation of its own. But right now, just practice that extra squeeze at the top. You will feel it immediately. And please do not drop your leg on the way down. The lowering phase, done slowly and with control, is where a significant portion of the strengthening happens. If you are just lifting and dropping, you are getting maybe 40% of the benefit. Lift with intention. Hold, squeeze and lower like you are resisting something. Movement 2. The standing knee warm-up circles. You are going to stand now. Stand near a wall or behind a sturdy chair. Something you can touch lightly for balance. You should not need to grip it hard, just fingertips. Place your feet together. Bend your knees slightly. Just an inch or 2, not a squat. Just a gentle softening of the knee. Place both palms on top of your kneecaps. Now you are going to make small, smooth circles with your knees. Move them forward, to the right, back to the left, like you are tracing a small oval on the floor with the tip of each knee. 10 circles in one direction, then 10 in the opposite direction. Now something interesting is going to happen as you do this. At some point in the circle, you will feel a small click, or a sticky spot, or a point where the motion feels slightly less smooth than the rest. Do not avoid that spot. That is exactly where the joint needs the most attention. Slow down right there, work through it gently, repeatedly. The click you are feeling is not bone hitting bone. In the vast majority of cases, it is gas being released from the fluid or a tendon momentarily catching. It is not dangerous, and over a few days of consistent practice, it usually fades. One important note: if you have been specifically told by a healthcare professional to avoid rotational movements at the knee, for example, if you have had a complex meniscus repair, skip this movement and do 2 additional sets of movement, 3 instead. For everyone else, this movement is doing something that straight-line exercises simply cannot replicate. It is coating the cartilage from every angle. Movement 1. The wall sit at 30 degrees. This is the movement everything else has been building toward. And the reason it is so powerful comes down to one muscle that the fitness world consistently ignores, but that physiotherapists think about constantly. The VMO, vastus medialis oblique. It sounds like a spell from a fantasy novel, and honestly, it might as well be magical for what it does. Look at your knee. Just above and slightly to the inside of your kneecap, there is a small, teardrop-shaped section of muscle. That is the VMO. Its job is to act as a medial anchor for the kneecap. Essentially, it holds the kneecap in its correct groove as the knee bends and straightens. When the VMO is strong and active, the kneecap tracks smoothly. When the VMO weakens, and it weakens faster than any other part of the quad, particularly as we age, the kneecap begins to drift outward during movement. It starts grinding against the lateral edge of the groove, rather than riding smoothly within it. That grinding is a primary source of the aching, the clicking, and the deep discomfort that people experience climbing stairs or walking any significant distance. Here is the critical insight that most people miss. The VMO is most active in a very specific range of knee bend, roughly the first 15 to 30 degrees. If you go deeper than that, the larger sections of the quadriceps dominate and the VMO goes quiet again. So conventional squats, even shallow ones, often under-recruit the VMO because people drop below that optimal range. This is why the movement I am about to describe looks almost embarrassingly easy. It is not. Stand with your back flat against a smooth wall. Walk your feet forward about 1 foot from the wall, shoulder width apart. Now slide your back slowly down the wall, bending your knees. Stop when you feel a mild to moderate effort in the front of your thighs. For most people, that is around 20 to 30 degrees of bend. Your thighs will be angled slightly forward, not horizontal. You are nowhere near a seated position. Hold that position. Press your back firmly into the wall. Focus on the inner edge of each thigh, just above the kneecap. Consciously try to squeeze that inner section. Hold for 10 seconds. Let us count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now slide back up. Shake your legs out. The trembling you may have felt is completely normal. That muscle has been dormant, possibly for years. It trembles the way any muscle trembles when it is asked to work after a long rest. That trembling is progress, not a warning sign. Do 5 holds of 10 seconds each. If the wall is uncomfortable for your back, or you simply do not have the right wall for this, do the exact same movement standing behind a chair, holding the backrest lightly. Bend to that shallow angle, hold, and rise. The wall version just gives you a clean feedback mechanism for keeping your back straight. After those 5 holds, you have completed the full sequence. Before you walk out of your bedroom, I promised you a bonus, and this one is so simple that most people dismiss it. Do not. The 60-second joint replenishment habit. Your cartilage has no direct blood supply. This is one of the most important and underappreciated facts in all of musculoskeletal health. Your muscles have arteries feeding them directly. Your organs have veins and capillaries running through them. But your cartilage, that critical smooth tissue that lines the surfaces inside your knee, receives all of its nutrients from one source only: synovial fluid. And synovial fluid only moves when the joint moves, which means 8 hours of stillness is 8 hours of your cartilage sitting in a relatively stagnant, nutrient-depleted environment. The movements we just did began to address that. But there is a second factor. After a night of sleep, you are mildly dehydrated. Your body has been repairing tissue, regulating temperature, and carrying out hundreds of cellular processes all night, all of which consume water. Synovial fluid is water-based. When your body is dehydrated, the fluid is thicker and less effective. The fix is almost insultingly simple. As soon as you finish the 5 movements, drink 1 full glass of room temperature water. Not cold. Room temperature absorbs into your system faster from the stomach. While you drink, do 10 slow ankle circles in each direction with each foot. This keeps circulation moving in your lower legs while the hydration enters your system. 60 seconds. Water and ankle circles. That is the entire bonus protocol. The exercises get the fluid moving. The water replenishes it. Combined, they work in a way that neither does alone. Here is the complete sequence, in order. The moment you wake lying flat, heel slides, 10 each side. Then quad switch-on holds, 10 each side. These take roughly 4 minutes. Your knees are now prepared to bear weight. Sit on the edge of the bed, seated knee extensions, 10 each side. Your quads are now firing through their full range. Stand, knee circles, 10 in each direction. The joint is now lubricated from every angle. Wall sit at 30 degrees, 5 holds, 10 seconds each. The VMO, the most neglected and most important muscle in knee health, is now awake and ready to protect the kneecap with every step you take. Finish, 1 glass of room temperature water, 10 ankle circles each foot. Total time, 8 to 10 minutes. Now let me tell you what to expect. Day 1 and 2. You will notice that by the time you finish the sequence, your first steps feel different. Less concrete, more cooperative. The improvement in those first steps is the most immediate sign that the fluid has been properly warmed and circulated. By day 3 or 4, most people notice that the worst of the morning stiffness begins to arrive later. Maybe it is no longer immediate. The second your feet touch the floor. The joint is waking up slightly faster than it did before. By the end of week 2, the VMO work will begin to accumulate. You may notice that stairs feel slightly more stable, that you are hesitating less before you stand up, that your knee feels more like a joint you trust and less like something you are managing around. These changes do not happen because you fix structural damage overnight. They happen because you have changed the biological environment inside the joint. You have given your body the inputs it needs to do what it has always been trying to do: maintain and protect that joint on your behalf. Your knees are not worn out. They are underserviced. There is a difference. A worn-out engine cannot be saved. An underserviced one, maintained consistently and intelligently, can perform far beyond what its mileage would suggest. Here is the challenge: 7 mornings, just 7. Put this on your calendar. Set a reminder on your phone. Do this sequence every morning for 7 days, and then come back and tell me in the comments what you noticed, whether it was by day 3, day 5, or whether you woke up on day 7 and realized you stood up without thinking about it. That moment standing without negotiating with your own body, that is what we are working toward. Every comment you leave helps someone else watching this video decide to begin. Your experience is someone else's permission to try. so share it. And if this gave you something useful today, share this video with one person in your life who talks about their knees. Not as a hint, as a gift, because most people with morning knee pain have simply never been told that there is a sequence, a reason, and a solution. Take care of the joint. It will take care of everything else.